Three short introduction remarks. Number one, it's not politically correct words, but Chaim and Boaz are our colleagues and friends, but this is really inspiring conference. It shows that there are no limits for research, and where there is hunger for research, it can be wherever you are. Introduction number two, Boaz mentioned how we see the unseen people, so I want to thank Yunit from Shanan College who helped me with the slides to this presentation. And number three, I've checked the slides from there, and in some slides the fonts are not big enough. So you're more than welcome to get closer if you want to stay there, whatever is good for you. It's not all the slides. Okay. I have a few minutes to speak about Orthodox historiography and about two of its outstanding figures, Rabbi Yitzchak Isaac Halevi and Zev Yavitz. As one who has invested countless hours in these figures, in this subject, I can say it is no simple matter to stuff so much information into a small time frame. I'm also making my task more difficult by devoting the first part of my address to presenting the background, as I understand it, to the academic attitude to Orthodox historiography. I'm doing so because I believe this constitutes a substantial contribution to the understanding of Orthodox historiography and society, and also because it may give someone here some useful tools for other studies. I'm not going to use the word rupture, but it's going to be there a lot, and marginal historians you will find much more. Until the early 2000s, Orthodox historiography was conventionally viewed as, and I quote, hagiography with footnotes, as it was forced by Professor Ada Rappaport Albert. In the last decade, there is a shift in this view. This lecture will be presented in three stages. The sociological background required to understand the conventional attitude toward Orthodox historiography, findings indicating the error in this conventional view, a forward-looking directional reading of implications of the first two. Presenting Orthodox historiography as a counter-response of Orthodox society against the emerging project of Wissenschaft dovetails with the general perception of Orthodox society as a defensive society, rendered distinct from a traditional society by turning defensiveness into constitutive foundation. The architects of these perceptions were Jacob Kass and his disciple Moshe Samet. In an earlier study treating Rabbi Yitzchak Isaac Halevi, I explored this point extensively. Today, I wish to spread a wider cloth. I believe the foundations of Katz and Samet's approach were based on no other foundation than the father of sociology, Emil Durkheim. The fundamental assumptions are in Durkheim's book, The Elementary Forms of Religious Life, published 1912. Durkheim rejects the transcendentalist approach, which sees in religions ideas that are independent of and exalted above society. In his view, the religious world includes a system of ideas which reflects the system of social relations among the believers and their values. One of Durkheim's central conclusions based on his approach, which focuses in principle on the human social foundations of religion, deals with the relation between the sacred and the profane. According to Durkheim, sacred and profane share a common source, the human soul. The sacred emerges from generous and life-producing forces, while the profane emanates from the forces of evil which cause death and illness. As well, sanctity and profanity are in a head-on and unparalleled contradiction to one another. The evil is opposite to the good, death is opposite to life, destruction is opposite to construction. In the concrete world in which religious ritual takes place, contact between the sacred and the profane has a destructive effect of profaning the sacred. Therefore, the sensual and the profane has a destructive effect of profaning the sacred. Therefore, the central element of any religious ritual touches on the separation between the sacred and the profane in such a manner as to prevent contact between them, despite their dynamic natures. Durkheim calls this element negative cult. Although the negative cult often precedes the positive cult, it often becomes the dominant element in religious cults. Our next stop is Karl Mannheim and his conceptions regarding the relations between traditional society, and modern society. Mannheim was strongly influenced by Durkheim's theories regarding the connection between ideology and society. According to Mannheim, the conventional worldviews, Weltschauung, of the society emerge from its structure, and the interests embodied in those worldviews reflect the interests of that society. Also, like Durkheim, who sets the struggle between the sacred and the profane at the foundation of his analysis of religions, Mannheim sets his conflict at the nexus of his analysis of sociology of knowledge. So, for example, the title of his book, Ideology and Utopia, is based on the tension between the conventional conceptions of the ruling society, ideology, versus the positions of opposition groups competing for hegemony, utopia. Graetz, who was Mannheim's disciple, took from Mannheim the connection between worldview and social structure, as well as the necessity to expose the struggle between opposing views as the key to understanding them. These principles are at the foundation of his analysis of Orthodox society. As I noted in my introduction, in Graetz's view, orthodoxy is distinguished from traditional society by negative element of opposition to novel modern alternatives and the defensive posture becoming a foundational element of Orthodox society. Now, a little bit about Orthodox historiography. You can see on the slide, I'll go on, the depth and breadth of the influence of Durkheim's conceptions of the contradiction between the sacred and the profane, and the centrality of the negative cult and the fundamental nature of this struggle in human society in general and religious society in particular, may be seen as well from the way religious fundamentalism characterized as enclave culture. According to Emmanuel Sivan, at the foundation of fundamentalism stands the fear of religious people trickling out to the secular majority society. A religious minority for which the fear of secular majority society becomes a central characteristic, so that it devotes a considerable portion of its efforts to the struggle against the secular majority in order to prevent its membership from staying becomes fundamentalist. Sivan's explanations of the phenomenon of fundamentalism is based on Mary Douglas, this is the slide, cultural theory, which was strongly influenced by Durkheim. At the same time, a significant portion of Sivan's theory is based on Orthodox Judaism in keeping with the analysis of Graetz. In order to clarify what I've just presented, I would like to present the following chart. Now, you can see we have Durkheim and going in two directions. One branch is Mannheim, Graetz, and the other one is Mary Douglas cultural theory. Sivan fundamentalism is based on both, and Orthodox society, which Sivan doesn't refer at all, is also inherited from Graetz's attitude towards orthodoxy. Having presented the solid foundations and broad shoulders supporting the conventional academic theory regarding Orthodox historiography, I wish to transition to the next stage and focus on Orthodox historiography itself. Before presenting my findings with regard to Rabbi Yitzchak Isaac Halevi and Zev Yavitz, I would like to briefly survey the characteristics of history as it came to be accepted in the Wissenschaft school. This survey is important. Oh, hold on a second. This survey is important because any assessment of the work of Halevi and Yavitz must take into account the approach accepted in their time. And I'm not going to read the whole slide, but the idea is we have here combinations of objectivity and how we reach objectivity based on Ranke's attitude, and we also use our historical science as a means to advance ideology. And for them, for those historians, not the Orthodox ones, but like Graetz, Yost, and whatever, they combine between those two elements. In other words, within the Wissenschaft school, there was no contradiction between the aspiration to objectivity and the use of scholarships as a means to defend values which they hold and attack values which they oppose. Any assessment of Halevi and Yavetz as historians must be taken in comparison of this accepted approach. Everything is dependent upon fortune, even the Torah scroll in the Ark. Rabbi Yitzchak Isaac Halevi, Rabinovitz, who presented the most comprehensive, profound, and significant Orthodox response to the Wissenschaft des Judentums school of historiography, at least in everything concerning the history of the oral Torah, did not enjoy the honor this might be expected to have earned him in the pantheon of Orthodox Jewish lights. To a certain extent, Halevi did not have good fortune. The Orthodox world did not appreciate the religious value of his work, while the scholarly was alienated by the arcane writing style. Born in Lithuania, 1847, Rabbi Yitzchak Isaac Halevi received an Orthodox yeshiva education which included inter alia studies in Volozhin. He left Lithuania in 1895 when his business interests went bankrupt, and after several years of wandering in Europe, he settled in Germany, where he remained until his death in 1914. Starting in 1897, during this period of wandering in Europe, he published the first of his series of historical books, Dorot Rishonim, First Generations. He published 2 more books during his lifetime, and other books were published posthumously from his manuscripts. There is no question that Halevi fits the conventional image of orthodoxy. As our time in short, I will mention only 2 elements: being apologetic. I'll read the Hebrew, and you can use the translation. 1 second. אבל איננו רואים לפנינו כי החוקרים האלה, excuse me, apologetic, okay, Orthodox of versus Wissenschaft scholars, אבל איננו רואים לפנינו כי החוקרים האלה, here refers Isaac Hirschweiss, אשר עזבו את חוקי התורה ומצוותיה ואמרו לקחת משם רק את מידות המוסר, שקראו בפנימיות התורה, עזבו כל כך גם את פנימיות התורה ודרכי המוסר, עד כי לא יבושו לבדות שקרים גלויים על חכמי התורה, וגם על ישראל כולו, וישליכו עליהם שיקוצים, הדברים אשר בדו מליבם, ומחזות שווא ומדוחים אשר ידעו בעצמם, כי לא כן ידברו למען כסות כלימה את עמם ולאומם. I can call this an attack. He is also apologetic. Here it is. I brought 2 examples. There are many more. לא מצאנו בשום מקום בין הגאונים לבין מחלוקת. They live happily ever after. והמרידה הזאת, this rebellion, מראשיתה לא היה לה לא מחולל ולא מוליד, כי אם יצאה מעצמה. כן, מעצמה, out of itself. Now, one more example. Here, this is versus the enemies of the Pharisees. Of course, we are talking about the fathers of older rabbinic school. So the Pharisees, כי חשוב בכל יסודי הדת, ויאמר הנה כל הגויים בית ישראל, ותהי חפצם ל... לא, זה לא שם. סליחה. הנה, תודה. כי חשוב בכל יסודי הדת, ויאמר הנה כל הגויים בית ישראל, ותהי חפצם לעזוב לגמרי את כל דרכי התורה, וללכת בדרכי העמים. וכאשר לא הצליח חפצם בידם, העמידו את הנהגתם בדרכי היהדות על המועט היותר אפשר, דהיינו רק על המפורש בתורה. This is what he has to say on Josephus. I dealt a lot with the Josephus article. Will be published in the coming few months. I'll take only the lower one. האיש הזה, Josephus, כל כך הורגל בדברי עורמה ומזימה, עד כי איבד כל הרגשותיו, וכתב דברים אלה מבלי להרגיש שמוטב היה להם שלא נכתבו משנכתבו. אבל דברי הבל כאלה, אשר שם יוזפוס בזה, לא הכירה מקומם בספר דברי הימים. Okay. On the other hand, there are less well-known sides of Halevi that tend in the opposite directions. Number 1, divergent sources. Halevi relies on a wide range of sources beyond the rabbinic sources, including New Testament, Eusebius, Rabbi Isaiah de Rossi, Mommsen, Schuer, Weil. In dozens of instances throughout his work, Halevi relies on and approves of assertions of his rivals, such as Graetz, Weiss, Rabbi Zcharia Frankel. I didn't bring here Graetz because there are so many, but we'll come to Graetz later on. Now, Josephus comes in for harsh criticism, yet Halevi is not averse of relying upon him in over 200 instances. Okay, that person where he said that it shouldn't be written more than 200 instances. Presently, I will address the methodology he developed to deal with this dissonance. Halevi frequently relies on critical reading of primary sources. His criticism is internal as well, including criticism, now listen carefully, to the Tosafot and early commentaries. And I brought some more sources. Okay, I'm not going to read them all. You can have some impression with time limit. I want to read two. There are 4 slides of criticism. I'll go with the first one. הנה הכרחו רבותינו לאמור דברים אבלים כאלה על אחד מראשי מאורי ישראל, דבר שאי אפשר לאמרו כלל ובפרט על ראש וראשון בדורו כריש לקיש. Now here he doesn't talk on, he's not referring to Graetz or someone else, he refers to the Tosafot. Here we have some more examples. Rishonim and Tosfot Yom Tov, Tom Heller, we're talking about late 16th century and 17th century. And again, using sharp words against them. And I'll focus on the 4th one. I'll read it and I'll explain. והנה לא תרצו תוספות כלום, ומסכת עבודה זרה, דף ה' המציאו מעצמם, again, the תוספות, דרשה חדשה לתרץ זה, והנה, סליחה, no, I'm not reading from, that's the problem when you have 2 different computers. והנה על ידי אשר כל העניינים האלה לא נתבררו כלל. חשבו האחרונים, including Rashi and Rambam, דבר דרבנן בקניינים ודבר דרבנן במצוות במדרגה אחת, ועל כן ירבבו זה יחד. ויהי אצלם דבר תקנות דרבנן אשר אינם נשארים דרבנן, דבר אחד בקניינים דרבנן אשר אחרי אשר נתקנו אינם דין גמור של תורה. ועל ידי זה רבו אצלם הסתירות בדברי הגמרא. Now, this is fascinating. Here he's not talking about history, he's talking about halacha. Okay, Kinyan de Rabbanah, this is a major halachic issue. And he uses history to explain, to argue with the way Tosafot interprets those issues. Halevi not only talked the talk, but also walked the walk. The similarity to modern historiography did not end with the broad sweep of sources, but also include the critical usage of sources. First of all, because Halevi strove to get to the most primary source available, there are instances when he argues that the Geonim and the Rishonim express historical position relying on passages from the Gemara. Their views must be taken at face value, but issues must be examined more closely. Halevi also demonstrates philological skills in his textual analysis, including distinguishing copyists' remarks, permitting the text from Talmud, text drifting from one place to another, unnecessary corrections, redaction issues, presentation of text in the language of origin, and awareness of the necessity of precise translation. Neither did he have any hesitation about questioning the reliability of numerous historical sources from the rabbinic literature, as we have just said. Yet, it should be emphasized that in a certain point of philological field, there is an abyss between Halevi's scholarship and modern historiography. Halevi may declare that he is opposed to textual emendations on the basis of conjecture alone, but in fact there are many instances where he corrects text without sufficient textual basis, including manuscripts comparisons. Finally, Halevi gives his readers a range of historiographic rules aiming to clarify the demands of a historian who wants to glean reliable historical information from his sources. In simple cases, critique of the sources is likely to lead to conclusion that the source from which all this is gleaned may be relied upon completely. In more complex cases, when the source before us is problematic, it requires complex research process. First, it's not appropriate to dismiss the entire source out of hand, even if it's fluid. The historian must, and now I'll show you some of Halevi's rules, and if you find them similar to what you do in your own classes, it's on your own responsibility. ואין אני רוצה לדבר בדבר הזה מהשקפת האמונה בתורת השם וחוקיו על ישראל, כי דברינו במקום הזה אינם רק מתוך חקירת חוכמת ישראל, חקירה חופשית אשר אין לה בעולמה כי אם החקירה עצמה. There's another similar source, and the next slide, להעמיק העיון, and here we see the methodology, first he declared, and then the methodology, להעמיק העיון, להבדיל התוך מהקליפה והגרעין מהשיבולת, ולא על פי מה שיעלה על רוחנו בהשערות, כי אם למצוא כל פעם לבד הראיות מבחוץ, גם הראיות מדברי הכותב עצמו, שיהיה הדברים גם מוכח מעצמו, מוכח מתוכו, ואך אז יעלה בידינו הדבר כמו שהיה, וישיעורו הדברים אשר זרחה עליהם השמש. And this is when he talks about Josephus, the same Josephus that he saw as a wicked person, כי בכל מקום נוכל ללמוד הרבה מתוך דבריו וסגנון עניינם, גם בנוגע למעשה הימים ההם, מעת אשר יבליע בדרך אגב, ולפעמים גם מהמשך לשונו ועריכת שפתיו. או למטה, יימצא בכל זה פעם כה ופעם כה, אומר, ודברים אשר בהתאחדם יחד ימלאו את החיסרון ויבררו הדבר. Okay. Halevi believed that Orthodox faith and modern historical scholarship could be reconciled by their common aspiration to seek the truth. Orthodox liberates the historian from false prejudice, while the science of history provides the Orthodox Jew with tools for anchoring his faith in the past, because the Orthodox foundations underlies the true wisdom of Israel. End of quote. For Halevi, this is not an empty declaration, and his books express a comprehensive effort to apply the principles of modern historiography from within an Orthodox worldview, i.e., to create a critical Orthodox historiography. The second historian whose attitude will be examined is Zev Yavitz. There are significant points of interstice between Halevi and Yavitz. They were born in the same year, shared the Orthodox way of life and thought, and the belief in the importance of dealing with history, and they correspond with one another. Yavitz recognized the importance of Halevi's work and relied upon him frequently. Yet there are important differences as well. Halevi's intellectual intensity and analytic ability were greater than Yavitz's. Halevi's polemic orientation contrasted with Yavitz's pedagogic approach, emphasizing moderation and harmony. In terms of political ideology as well, they chose divergent paths. Halevi was one of the architects of the Agudat Israel party, while Yavitz was one of the heads of Mizrahi and even edited its journal. We heard about the biography from Asaf yesterday, so I'm jumping right away to the ideology. The approach of Zev Yavitz rests on three pillars: nationalism, orthodoxy, and historical inquiry. I gave here a few examples. With the time limit, I want to focus on, this is where he talks about the halacha and the central place of halacha. And the next one, it also deals with the orthodoxy, but this is a masterpiece. One more. Again, he talks about the Rabbanim as heroes. The next one, this is the masterpiece. This I have to read, and excuse me, it has to be in Hebrew. I mean, it's a good English translation. It's not mine, so I can say it's a really good one. But the Hebrew here, he is the master of Hebrew. And we just read in Parashat Shavua, the golden calf. Ben Menachem, who is Mendelssohn, of course. Ben Menachem העלה את חקרי ליבו על היהדות על ספר ירושלים. He admired Mendelssohn. ויצב לכל עמו לתת את נפשם ואת שלומם. I'm not sure what is this word. I think there is a mistake. כיפר או כפה, I'm not sure. כל קטנה וכל גדולה שבתורה. וימות מקץ 3 שנים. Now here it gets more interesting. ויראו כל העדה כי מת משה. ויאמרו גם הם, נעשה לנו אלוהים אשר ילכו לפנינו. והקימו להם את דוד פרינלדר, איש קצר דעת ורחב פה לראש ולשר, ואת מרדכי הרץ, הוא לא מרקוס, הוא מרדכי, הרופא לחכם ומורה, ובמקום איש אלוהים הקימו עגל זהב, היא אשת מרדכי, הנרייטה הרץ העגלה היפהפייה, היא בעלת הכשפים המוכרת עמה בכשפיה ובזנוניה. אוקיי? כן. Now, But also I said historical inquiry. לפי דעתי יש למנות את דברי הימים בתוך המדעים אשר עצם הנידון שלהם הוא חיצון, או במליצת בני תיבון חוץ לשכל, אביקטיב, אובג'קטיב. לאמור הוויה עומדת בפני עצמה שאין בידי השכל להוסיף עליה משלו או לגרוע משלה מאומה. וסוגיית הלימוד המובהק של דברי הימים, of course, הולכת מן הפרט אל הכלל אנליטיש. אוקיי? עכשיו, there are not that many examples like in the case of, one second. The declaration is not without a substance. For the sake of historical accuracy, Graetz based himself not only on non-Jewish historical sources such as New Testament, Diocasius and Eusebius, but also on the work of Solomon, Scheer, Graetz, Frankel, and Steinsteiner. This is Graetz, okay? Three different, at least, that I've found. Now, okay, we are really running out of time. Okay, so I'll get to the following example, which is a great one. But you have to watch it carefully, okay? Here it talks about Josephus. Now, Josephus, he talks a lot about Josephus, part of 4 pages dealing with Josephus. That's in the 6th volume. In the 5th volume, is based heavily on Josephus dealing with the destructions of the Second Temple. Now, he is a nationalist, okay? This is his main character in being a nationalist. And what he's saying here, יש כמה זיכרונות אשר להם פנים חדשות, למען הגדל כבוד עמו בעיני היוונים. So he criticizes Josephus from being too national. And because he's too national, he's making mistakes. And when you read Josephus, you have to pay attention to that, read him carefully, and put aside where he's too much nationalist. And this is a person who is a nationalist himself. Like Halevi, Graetz does not suffice with asserting Josephus' historiographic work, but also lays a methodology for uncovering historical truths in his works, and I don't have time to see it. Now, if you go back, now what do we have here? We have here Orthodox historiography, which is totally different from the way it was presented earlier. So the question now, what are the ramifications? And it's an open question for me. I'm not saying that the early attitude is completely false, but it's much more complicated, okay? And it's going to be your decisions, our decision, or our research to check again what are the ramifications of understanding Orthodox historiography differently. In my view, this is a vital point. Paraphrasing Walter Benjamin's well-known saying, to brush history against the grain, I propose that one of the important challenges facing historians is the challenge of brushing history against the grain of himself. Ranke's historiographic school gave the historians the professional tools face this challenge, but beyond the tools, professional integrity is required. Returning to the sociological theories presented previously, the conclusions regarding Halevi and Graetz's Orthodox historiography is significant with the relation to Orthodox society and the phenomenon of fundamentalism. In contrast with Sivan's depiction of Jewish orthodoxy, on which he bases to a significant degree his theory regarding fundamentalism society, Jewish Orthodox society is not only a defensive society. Alongside the defensiveness, it is a society which adopts central elements of the majority society into its discourse. Clearly, a broad theory such as Sivan's cannot be challenged on the basis of the phenomenon of Orthodox historiography. Yet, it does raise question marks and raises need for a renewed and expanded examination of the subject. Thank you very much.